power, and that we really have a clean slate, that we could even make a regional approach that would not be suspect, as it would probably be if one of the other countries were to make such an approach.
Absolutely, and President Obama is better situated than any president in the world, or any past president of the United States to make an impact on the continent now, because people view him as a son of the continent, and now that's what he is.
That's what he is.
That's what he is, because he's directly linked to the continent, not indirectly. His father,
he didn't come over on a slave ship and look back, but
that's correct. He's directly linked to it in blood, because his father is from the lower ethnic group
and from what I understand, whenever he makes an appearance in Hawaii, in Africa, or whatever, lines are miles and miles long. Everybody trying to, as it was yesterday in Canada, people are simply trying to get out to see him. And so he has a lot of prestige in terms of trying to deal with this specific kind of problem. Is that what we're saying here?
Precisely. He's in a position to become a great transformational leader, insofar as the continent of Africa is concerned. You hear of the phrase trade, not aid. Well, what the problem is that you cannot have trade when the partners are unequal, and that's been the problem. So when some of the Western countries are tired, of helping African countries, the past colonial powers, they say, well, trade, not aid. But they forget that most of the continent was devastated the way it is today economically because of their own policies.
That's right.
Of taking, economic resources from Africa without paying for it. That's right. Exactly. So when some of the countries in Africa start saying, well, we need a little help here and there, even with our own crops. Also, they say, oh no, it's trade, not aid. Okay? Yeah,
that's been a good excuse for not doing anything.
Exactly.
For not fulfill the moral responsibilities that they should have.
That's correct. And they impose high tariffs on African products, so they can't even come in. Okay? You see, and flood the continent with cheaper things, So you see that even the domestic market in Africa cannot function well. So that's one other, economic diplomacy that the Obama administration has to do.
That's mercantilism. We used to call that mercantilism when the colonies and the mother country, etc. But that's the same thing that's going on now in reference to these countries.
Exactly. So there should be an equal,
And so over the last minute, Dr. Modu, you're hopeful in terms of the presidency of Barack Obama in terms of dealing with some of the issues that we've talked about here, that we've been talking about for the last 20 years here.
Yeah, I'm very optimistic. I'm very optimistic because I think he has some good folks in his National Security Council who know about Africa and who've lived there. The Treasury Secretary, Gardner, lived in Africa. And you have Susan Rice, the UN ambassador, who was former Assistant Secretary of State, an African hand, So I think he has a good, he's Clinton also. He also knows Africa very well. So he's got a good inner circle that know the truth about Africa. Exactly. And of course, Dr. Modu, let me thank you over the last 10 seconds for coming by and giving us that extra information. And let me encourage our audience to tune in again next week for another informative edition of Comments. Thank you and good morning.